Thanks for being here. It's really an honor to be able to come down to Los Angeles and speak to coaches down here in Southern California. It's like a second home. We keep traveling down there every year. It seems like the last 6 or 7 years. So, know a lot of great coaches down here, a lot of great people. I'm also a UCLA grad, so I have some Southern California roots with me. Right off the bat, I'd like to do this first. For me, I find it really, it's a great learning experience to be able to engage with coaches. It takes time. I give out my email address, and then, a lot of people email me, and we get a lot of dialogue with a lot of coaches. It's kind of fun because I get a lot of coaches throughout the country. And so, anything that I talk about today that you have questions about, or just wondering about, or even, and I'd like this too, like, Coach, you said this, and this is what we do. We think about that, or just something else to think about. I think it's a great way to connect with a lot of different coaches and build some relationships. Because we're all in the same business, and that's to work with kids. I don't know any coach's worth his salt unless he's there for doing this for kids. There's no doubt about it. And some things I'm going to talk about, because I'm the athletic director of our school also. I'll speak from that standpoint also. But I'm really blessed with Salle. I've been working with Bob Lattiser for 25 years. And of course, his name is pretty well known throughout California, throughout the country. Right now he's got the best winning percentage of any high school ever. He's got his 300th win this year. And I also work with Coach Frank Rockwell in basketball, who is second right now, active coaches in California, best winning percentage right behind what it is tonight from out of day. So, 2 guys up there right there, I get to be around almost on a daily basis. And it's just kind of interesting to me how philosophies go, and as you look at things, how similar so many things are in this world. I just listened to Coach Dodge in South Lake Carroll. I was like, geez, you're kind of taking half my talk and some of the things he was saying. And what I want to talk about are the thing that Danny was talking about, pads for 18 days, and working with the quarterback in February for like 4 months. There's a lot of things people talk about what they do in their programs that you really can't do, especially in the state of California. And we all basically we all have the same rules. They're tweaked like leagues and sections a little bit. So things I'm going to talk to you about are just, I don't know if it's the best way. I don't know if it's the right way. All I know is it works for us. And maybe you can incorporate some of the things that we do in our program. One of the things that I will tell you about right off the bat, and we feel it's real important. And a lot of coaches scoff at us sometimes. I understand that, how that works, but our football team is no doubt, we'll talk about how it's based on hard work and commitment and accountability and all the different things that make for a great football team. But there's also, no doubt, just like class, it's also no doubt that our football program is based on relationships, and relationships that we build with these young men. And don't kid yourself the importance you have in building these young men's life. You think about it for yourself as a football coach. And I don't know what sport you play, but you think about it as you go back into your high school career. Think about, what teachers you had your freshman year of high school. And if you had a really good one, you're probably going to remember him or her. So if I told you, run down your schedule for me freshman year, probably 98% of you can say, I don't know, you probably should run down some of your high school teachers. You probably couldn't remember all of them that you had. But I bet you can remember all the coaches you had in high school, the coaches on the staff. And that's the influence you have on a young man's life when you're coaching football, or a young woman's life, that being the case. But that's the influence you have. And your job as a teacher and as an educator, and that's how we look at it at De La Salle High School as an athletic director. When we talk to our coaches, you're an educator out there. The field is your classroom. But we expect you to believe in the same philosophy and the same mission statement as our school believes in. And we take their jobs extremely seriously there. An example, just 2 days ago, I just had a great example, our jobs as educators too. We had a student, this is a non-football student, but I've got a bad football one later. A non-football student, he's a wrestler, and he wasn't wrestling that night. This is at a meet at our school. Okay, we're having a wrestling mat meet at our school against their team. And then we had a friend come up that wrestled at another school that was graduated in the first year. It was during, it was the night of the USC Texas game. So January 4th, I think it was. So this kid, being a college kid and all that, college kids and all that. He decided to go out in the middle of the meet, because the match, because the kid wasn't wrestling, decided to smoke a joint right in the middle of the match. So the kid comes back, and our wrestling coach used to work continuation schools. That's where he's helpful, because he's seen that look before. So the kid's all blurry-eyed, red-eyed, and all that, and we bring him up. It was actually, he goes, you want to talk to him? We got to talk to him. He wants to talk to me right when Vince Young gets the ball in the last 2.5 minutes. I'm like, now you want to talk about it? It's like, all right. So we go in the locker room, and we start talking to him, why are your eyes red? I don't know. And basically, it's marijuana, which if you don't spell it out, which I didn't, it's hard to do it. He's like, all right, well, we heard your name again. You're going to be done, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I swear to God. Well, in the meantime, the other kid that he smoked dope with, he was staying with one of our assistant coaches, so he smelled it on him, and he ratted, the whole thing out, said, I was smoking, I'm sorry, he's in college, he has stuff to lose. And basically, he told me that kid was with me, he smoked it and all that. So, yeah, so he busted. So I'm talking to the dad. And his dad, the wrestling coach decides, you know what, I don't know, I'm suspending him indefinitely because he's never had a kid actually smoke dope on him in the middle of a match. So that was a new one for him. So you want to think about it. So while he's thinking about it, the dad's like, his dad's kind of, at first he's like, I'm going to kill him. But we drug tested him, and they found him with paraphernalia a week before, but that was his friends. And I'm saying, like, I think you're saying, they have problems. Like when we tested him, it's like, well, test can be beat, but I'm not going to get into that. So, bottom line is, we have a rule at our school. If you're caught cheating, it's 40 hours detention right off the bat. It's 40 hours. Boom, you get it. So that goes into your co-curriculars. So, and you only get to make up more than 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. So if you're any kind of athlete, if you get caught cheating, you're going to be out of money. That's the bottom line. And it has happened the last couple of years, not that much. So I was talking to this kid's dad, and his dad's all mad because there was a wrestler that got caught in December. He spent his 40 hours, and now he's back wrestling. And I'm talking to him, I go, well, like, if your son was caught cheating, that's at least 40 hours. I mean, he's only had him off for 2 weeks. So I don't know what we're going to do with him. The coach is talking with him and all that. And he goes, well, to me, he goes, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but, I'd much rather have my son smoking dope than cheating. Because cheating, that's an integrity issue. I go, oh, so smoking dope in the middle of a wrestling match and then lying your ass off is not an integrity issue. Okay, I get it. So, and I think that's what we're dealing with, in a lot of times. You are really the primary educators of a lot of things about values. I really believe that. We have a lot of juice in that area. I think it needs to be taken really seriously. And what does it have to do with defense? Well, to me it has everything to do with that because that's how we build our program. We build our program that way. And everything we do follows through with our accountability and responsibility of our athletes. And I think the one thing that we're known for, I think about at De La Salle High School, and we did have the winning streak. We've lost some games the last couple of years, but I think people that saw us play against Mission Diego this year, which was a good game. I mean, that's a great program. And you got to be on your game to get them. There's no doubt about it. And I think people were really kind of impressed the last couple of years. They had some pretty big boys, and we were hanging with them with a bunch of undersized kids, like our three technique is literally he's 5'7", 205. I mean, and he's all of 5'7", and he was hanging in there with them. And we don't get the 6'3", the 6'4" guy. We get him, but he never comes out for football. I don't get it. You walk on our campus, you see, well, look at that guy. I know, yeah, he doesn't play. he's a lacrosse player, or bowling, or golf, or whatever. But they don't come out for football. We have one big one now that's a sophomore that's will be good, but we don't get a lot of 6'3", 255. We get a lot of 5'10s, 205s, 5'11", 215. And how is it that we get these guys? I think they play pretty good defense. This year in the playoffs, our first team gave up 7 points, which is the reason why I mention that is because we believe, and our offense has gotten a lot of play over the years. Coach Larson running his veer option on that, but we really believe if you're going to win games, if you're going to win a championship, you got to play defense. That's in any sport. Find me a sport where a college professional team is winning a championship, maybe every once in a while just on offense. You got to play defense. There's no doubt about it. So we've developed a way of going about that, and anytime you have any questions at all, feel free. And really, our defense, I put it under 2 categories, which I'm going to talk about next. Defense, special teams. I think they coincide with one another. And that's what the next one is. Okay. Okay. I developed my philosophy by being around our offense and understanding what we couldn't do. So I think, there's a lot of logic to what, about playing defense. And one of them is what is it that you see your offense have trouble doing? Chances are that's what that most offenses are going to have trouble doing that. So I understand that on our offense, something that we have great difficulty doing is we can't drive the ball 70 or 80 yards. So I want the team we're playing driving the ball 70 or 80 yards. That's a big thing to me. It's one of our main goals is right off the bat is no big plays. Cannot give up big plays. Make a team drive the football, because chances are, I watch us do it, there's going to be a fumble, there's going to be a holding, they're going to screw it up. They're kids, and it's very difficult for them to methodically drive the ball up and down the field. So with that in mind, I don't want to put myself defensively in situations. I think this is something that looks like if you're a blitzing team, we love to bring it and all that. That's great, but I myself, if you're going to blitz all that, you better have the guys to cover, because nothing drives me crazier than a blitz-happy team watching this, and then all of a sudden, a 2-yard slant goes for 80 yards. That to me is just like, what's the point of that? I just believe at this level, at high school level, you got to make them drive the ball, because we can't do it. Like I said, we can't complete it out consistently. So we run out. Our quarterbacks, we've got some decent quarterbacks. Consistently, we cannot throw an out. So right off the bat, in my pass coach, my thing is, let them throw an out. I tell our kids that in our zones, you play the strong safeties, you guys are playing inside, linebackers, everybody. Inside out, take away slants. It's the easiest pass to complete. Make them throw an out, and they can, and like every once in a while, you run into like a Mark Sanchez who can do that, But still, consistently down the field, I'd like to see it. 2 years ago, we played Mission Viejo at our school, in our field. This is what we did. They kicked our butts up and down the field. They kept driving and driving until when we got near the goal line, that's where we put the stop on them. We eventually got to it. It was hard for them, and they had a great, that team 2 years ago. It was a great team. It was even that strategy worked. We still, to make it go all the way through, we gave up no big plays. They had to dig in, Chase ran over about 30 of our guys along the way, but we eventually, though, just kept going after it. And just stay put, stay calm, and don't give a big play. And, we ended up losing that game 17-14. So that was a pretty good effort for our kids in that season. Okay. I think you have to think about this, too. Too many of us want to outsmart the opposition. In the meantime, I think we outsmart ourselves. This game, they keep scores, so the game is about winning the game. And don't ever forget that. It's a lot of more things about that. I understand that. But our number one goal as a coach on game night is trying to win the game. I don't think, it's not to try to make us look good. It's not to make it so that coaches will look at us and go, wow, look what that guy's doing over there. Our job is to make our kids as successful as possible. That's the number one. And we got high school kids, and wow, does that take a lot of work to get them to that point? I mean, I was looking at Coach Schneider from UCLA. I don't know if he's over there for Coach Schneider from UCLA, anybody in that one? He's talking about, punt return, and they're taking 20 minutes, every day of practice, just going over the blocking of one-on-one drills and all that for punt return. And I'm looking at it going, God, that would be great, but who has time for that? To do one-on-one drills for punt return for 20 minutes. I mean, I don't, we don't, and I seriously doubt that you do either. I mean, we went into our first scrimmage, our backup quarterback who ended up becoming our starting quarterback. This is no BS. He fumbled 9 out of 11 snaps in the scrimmage. I was like, oh God, please get a snap so we can just see what you can do. He ended up being our starter 2 games later. So if you think, if we're going to start that kid fumbling 9 out of 11 snaps, you think we're going to be doing punt return for 20 minutes? No. I mean, we're going to be doing, on one-on-ones, we're going to be doing a lot of tailors just to get that kid back up to speed. I mean, so no one has that time to do that. And I don't know about you also. I don't know what boat you're in. The boat I'm in, though, is I got to use guys on offense and defense. I mean, and we're going to condition for that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we got to have two-way players. That's all there is to it. We have, typically speaking, on our football team, we have about 45 to 48 players that end up playing in our program. We have a school of 1,004 boys. So we got a bunch of kids there. But getting on the other ones committed and all that, and we're so good in so many sports in our school, it definitely spreads out a little bit. But, I've got to go offense and defense, so every day, I don't have a chance to go just defense 4 days a week. I don't have time to do that. So we got to split time, offense and defense. So with that in mind, we can't be doing 6,000 things out there and trying, we're trying to get these kids, just to get our basics down, which I think is real important. So an example of this, I talked about when we played Modern Day in '98. I learned a huge lesson as a defensive coordinator that way. This was that was '98 was we've obviously Matt Leinart and Matt Grew good years. They had a pretty good team in '98. It's a team that beat Poly in the finals. And Grew good there all over. It was really wild that night. And when I first saw them, I watched a little bit of Modern Day this year. But back then, they had 10,000 sets. I mean, they did a great job. Quads, and then trips, and a single, and 2 backs and 1 back, and they had all these different sets. And I thought, wow, we're going to be smart. We're going to have checks for all these different sets. And we're going to be ready for these guys. Really, they try to do it for us. We're going to be right there, ready to be right there with them. So we get out there and practice, and we start. They line up and they do this, and guys are like running around with their chicken with the head cut off. And we're screwing up everything. We haven't gotten one check right. And I'm going, oh, this is brilliant on my part. I just totally confused them. So I said, I'm out. Okay, we're going to go back to our deep base, 4-4, BD, great. And that's what we ran. And it worked. I mean, for at least rushing-wise, I think they ran for like 33 yards that game. And the bottom line is, why did that work? Simply because, like I said, don't make it rocket science. I talk about the two-way players. The bottom line is, the simpler it is, the more confidence your players have. That is critical 15, 16-year-old kids. When you're in college, let's face it, every kid that goes to college, confidence is not a problem. If you ever had a Division I kid recruited at your school, then you know that. Because they all think they're God by the time recruiting season's over. And they're all going to the league, and they're all going to do great. And because the coaches have been kissing their butts, trying to get them to go to their school, and now they're just on another level from us. But a high school kid, it's not the case. Besides that, they got 10,000 things swimming in their head. This girl, she looked at me, but she didn't talk to me, and she doesn't like me anymore. I mean, we're dealing with so many issues, and that's, family issues, school. I mean, it's a whole new world out there. And how many people are in high school here? How many people are teaching or coaching high school? Everybody good, basically? Okay. Well, then You know, they do things without thinking. It's an amazing group, really. It's amazing that more high school coaches aren't flat-out alcoholics, but it's good that we're not, because they really need us out there. So I tell my kids all the time that on defense, it's like, do I have to start my crack habit again? No, it's okay, so I'm doing that. So the kids, you know, you get a confident kid, you've seen it. I mean, you're coaching high school, the more confident they are, they play out of their tree. There's no doubt about it. You will see kids in high school do things you never thought they could do if you build that confidence. And confidence is built from them feeling like they know what they're doing. We just really believe that. So, 4-4. Our base defense is 4-4, cover 3. And everyone says, oh, it's so simple and it's generic. And it's like, you're right. But we know how to run it because we drill them and technique it, and everyone knows where they're supposed to go. And when everything's gone wrong, whenever I go back, and we try to do different things, of course, but bottom line is we're getting ready to go back to this defense, and it always sends them back. So whenever you run it well, believe in it, you know, and you'll be all right. Now, this is part of, let's talk about the relationship part of it. Our defense is built around discipline and preparation. So, understand something. We're the Spartans. That's our nickname. Okay. So one thing about being a De La Salle Spartan that our kids buy into. This is how we start. How do you build discipline and preparation? How do you build young leaders too, to be responsible and accountable? Okay. Here's our first thing. First of all, you are a De La Salle Spartan 24/7. You're on our clock 24/7. As long as you're playing in our program, you're a Spartan 24/7. That means your butt's is ours on the field and off the field. 24/7, 365 days a week. That's part of what it means being a Spartan in our school. So whatever they're doing, that's why I'm talking about the relationship part of this. You know, yeah, we're with you. We're going to work with you, but you're part of us 365 days a year. For the juniors coming back and the sophomores going to be juniors coming seniors, there is no off-season for you. You're a Spartan at all times. Example of that is, and this has never happened in our school, so I don't want you to think we have a bunch of thugs or anything like that, but this was one of the dumbest things that's ever done in my 25 years. Over on Christmas Eve, the night before, it was Christmas Eve, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. 6 of sophomores in our school, 3 of them being football players, decided, and they planned this a day ahead of time. This is the scary part. Thought it would be fun, or I don't know what you'd call it, to take baseball bats to cars randomly and break their windows out. And it was like, well, that conversation, sophomores, or, they really ought to be sent out to pasture for a year until they come back in juniors. But so one of the sophomores is a JV player. 2 of them were JVs coming up to varsity. One was a varsity player, was a sophomore. And so on Christmas Eve, the mom, whose brother played for Coach Lasser and myself back in the 80s, made the kid call me up, called the assistant coach so she knows the number, said, what's Coach Edson's number? Made him call me and tell me what he had done. So we brought them all down to school during Christmas break. And the first question was, why did you do that? We're just trying to understand. You weren't drinking, you were on drugs, no. So you did this sober, which is even more disturbing about it. But I didn't tell him that. And so, why did you do that? I don't know. That's really not a good answer. I don't know. Not doing things, not having a reason for why you do things, it's not a good way to go through life. Bottom line is, though, those guys know. That was December. We had just finished our season 2 weeks before. All those players understand now, and we're going to hand it down to them probably next week, that they're going to be disciplined for next season. They're going to miss, we're debating right now between 1 or 2 games right now for something they did 10 months before the season even begins. And that's the way it goes. And the other part is our seniors, they're going to be seniors, they're like, when are we going to have a meeting to discuss those guys? With those guys. It's like War of the Flies, like, You're not going to meet with them, okay? We're going to meet with them. Don't worry about it. That's the whole mentality we want to build them. Those guys felt that they had embarrassed the program. And they want to talk to them, which is what you're trying to build, I believe, okay, in your program. Okay. All right, so I think this is important too. You cannot go into the week of the game and, whatever, you're running against an option team or whatever team you're running against, 4 wideouts or spread offense, whatever, and you guys say, okay, look, this week we have to be disciplined. Okay? We've been kind of slacking the last few weeks. This week we have to be disciplined. It's like, for us, that's too late. Okay? We believe discipline has to be created in the off season, and this is where we're talking about. It starts off right off the bat is it starts right off the bat with school, getting schoolwork together. Being responsible at school leaves responsibility on the field. It's not a sometimes thing. So that's something we really believe in. It's something our faculty really helps us with. When our kids are not getting it done on the classroom, when they're slacking off on training and assignments and all those things, they email us and let us know. And I think you should build that relationship with your faculty as coaches. You should let them, help them. If you're not an on-campus coach, which in this state has become part of the course. I mean, it's hard to find on-campus coaches. Coach Dell was talking about Texas. I know in Texas, you cannot coach in a school unless you work there. You have to work there. That's I don't know if it's state law, but in education, it's like, you have to work. Well, how many of us have that luxury of having every coach be in your school? So this is a good way to get to know the teacher, and a good way to find out about your players, what's going on. And I would say, too, get to know your dean, whatever that's what we call them, assistant principals. Get to know them and say, if you have any problems with these guys, I want to know about them. Because we think there's a direct correlation the way you are off the field, the way you're going to be on the field, in the sense of how we're going to be able to rely on you, and are you accountable and responsible. To us, like I said, it's a 24/7 thing. So are all our students great students? No. We don't have all geniuses, and they're not, and then they miss things and all that, but they're held accountable for that. Right now, we have some players under a 2-0. So right now, they can't, even though they're eligible, we have our off-season workout program already started. We don't let them lift with us. We don't let them run with us right now. We're doing any of the plyometrics and all that because they're under a 2-0. We want to see great progress reports in the next few weeks before we let them on with the team. Believe it or not, and those kids do not look at that as a vacation. Because when we build relationships with this team, the way I'm talking about, they feel like now they're letting their teammates down. And they're going to work harder in the classroom to get themselves back into that kind of program. So that's, I think, is real important. It's a big part of who we are, and that concept of the players feeling like they're letting each other down. Okay, well, like I said, we talk about, you be on everything on time. At least in the football program, teach them accountability. It's real important to us. Whatever we tell them to do, they got to be there on time. And we mean on time is on time. So if we say 12, it's 12. It's not 12:01, it's not 12:02. So a lot of our kids come to everything about 10 or 15 minutes early. We have Saturday morning workout and lifts and all that. And some of our kids live 45, 50 minutes away. None of that can be used as an excuse. Their parents can't be used as an excuse. Everything they got to do is got to be on time. Once again, it teaches them responsibility. And if you don't think, being responsible has anything to do with defense, then, I think it's crazy. It has everything to do with defense. I believe defense is built upon around responsibility. Okay. Now here's my pet peeve. Toughness. I don't know, are they different down in Southern California? I don't know. But Northern California, there are no more tough kids. I can just tell you that right now. Hardly anybody is naturally tough anymore. And I'm 47, and I talk to my friends, I blame my generation for it. I'm all for, parents, and dads especially, getting involved in their kids' lives, getting involved with them emotionally. I think that's really important. But I believe we just, we completely babied our kids now. I mean, it's just amazing to me I mean, I'm getting off the airplane today, and before we land, the pilot says, turn off your, please turn off your MP3 to your iPhone or your shuttle. You know what I mean? It's like, there's just like 20 things you have to turn off. It's like, these kids are given everything to entertain themselves. Nobody goes out, no one goes out and plays anymore. Nobody goes out and sweats anymore. And we got a huge obesity problem in this country with our young people, and I think we're to blame because, and I understand it. Everyone's worried about I understand that everyone's worried about their kids being kidnapped and all that, but no one can even go out across the street anymore. My 10-year-old daughter is going to go across the street to go to her neighbor's house. She goes, Dad, if you watch me walk across the street, it's like, just go on, it's all right. Mom would have a fit if she knew you told me that, and it's like, I tell my wife, I live in Concord, so it's like, how many kids have been kidnapped from Concord in the last 15 years? Ours isn't going to be the first. So, it's like, when I was a kid, we played all day long. I mean, I drove my bike up into a school, and depending what season of sport it was, notice that I rode my bike. I didn't get driven up there, okay? We didn't make play dates, We just showed up. And we creatively had to play the game, learning the game. And in today's kids, you have to explain everything to them. I mean, at least this is what we're dealing with. We have to explain everything to them. I had a kid that we were on punt team. And we're doing this for special teams practice. His our second-year player. We punted the ball off, and he ran down there, and he turned around and he started blocking for the return guy. It's like, no, you're supposed to tackle him, not block for him. Oh yeah, it's a different world in that sense. These kids, they don't think. Our quarterback, when they fumbled the ball 9 out of 11 times, this was the best line ever, I thought. The guy, doesn't understand anything about football. And he used to wear his Metallica shirt, and the kind of kid would dye his hair, put a paint streak in his hair, and just kind of I go look at. We try to talk about, what, if the kids are going to follow you, they got to believe that you're a leader. You're goofy, you dress goofy, you're making mistakes. They're not going to follow you. You got to start growing up a little bit. So we started getting to do that. Then it's like you got to understand the game more. Do you ever watch football? No. Have you never watched football? No. I'm ADD, I can't concentrate. That's right. Everyone's ADD now. I know. Back in the old days, it was called being restless, but now it's called being ADD. So, great. So we finally got to watch our highlight films of our old quarterbacks. We haven't started doing that anymore. Holy Toledo. But that's one part of it. The other part of it, like I said, kids are not naturally tough anymore. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I think it's real important. This is something that's got to be built into your program. Now, our program, we had a, I think he's one of the best trainers around in the country. And we had Mike Blaskowitz, he's now at Cal Berkeley. And he runs their program over there. He does mainly basketball. He runs everything except football there at Cal. Because the old assistant coach at Cal used to be at Salle High School, so they've been trying to get him there for years. He finally made that jump. And he got offered the job by the Sacramento Kings to be their lead strength trainer, and turned that down. So the guy is good. And we used to have this argument all the time. We're doing the parachutes, we're doing the sleds, we're doing the ladders, and all the speed work, which I'm all for. That's our options. It's like, okay, what are we going to do to toughen them up? What do you mean? It's like, well, are we going to do some running that is actually, doesn't have to do with their sport specific. We're just going to do something to make them miserable. And there's some beauty in that, Can't do that. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, I got my degree and they're like, all right. So after a year, though, we finally started coming around my way. But I mean, that's part of it. I always tell the kids about that kind of stuff is, I always tell guys, if they're not going to be tough, and that means the way they condition, we do condition them pretty hard. I always tell them, you can just go play offense then. That's what they need guys like. We do not need guys that aren't going to be tough. So that's a big part of it for us. And that means, you're going to be, up in the leaders when we're doing running things, you're lifting and all that. We want to hear about you, about being that way. And the other thing is, about being tough. And let's just face it, it's part of the game. If you played the game, we all understand this. And another thing is, the rise of the trainers. I know we have full-time trainer at our school. I don't know if we have a trainer. And 2 years ago, part of the reason why we went 8-3 is because every time our trainers stepped out on the field, 6 kids were flocking to him. Kids! And it's like, oh, jeez. So we started a new thing, like, can we just tell them they have to ask us before they go to you? Can we just have them do that? Not that we won't send them to you, it's a liability, but can we just have them ask us? So before they come see you, they just can't run to you. They have to ask us if they can go see you. Wow, did that cut that down tremendously? Because everyone's going, oh, I don't want to listen to the coach. But there's no doubt about it. That's part of this game that kids have to learn too, because I think they grew up saying, no, pain is not good. Well, pain's all right. You can live through pain. We're not talking about, fracturing a wrist or something like that, but the game itself, you're gonna be in some pain. And they have to understand that. And when you have a kid that's constantly making it to the training room on a daily basis, and he's crying about it, he's going there to get rehab. I mean, we've had some kids that are really, they went in there every day, but they need to go in there, but, they weren't complaining about it, they just did it. That's the kind of kid you want. That's a defensive player. You have a kid that, this, and then my finger kind of hurts, so I don't put him on defense. I'll tell you that right now. Never match up for him. All right. Now, summer, I think, is real important. I don't know, in the North, the coast section, in the North, they decided, in my section, they decided up to 3 summers ago, you could not use a football during the summer. You could not coach. You go to passing league because that was a JC class, but you couldn't use a football. So all you could do, just do weight training and summer conditioning if you wanted to. As an optional thing. Now in our section, it's like you can do anything you want this summer. Is that the way it is down here too? Yeah. You can basically do whatever you want. In our section, can you be in pads in the summer? We can be in pads in the summer if we wanted to.
In the valley, they can.
If the school allows you to do it, the school wants to put up a light, but we don't do that because they're going to hit enough. But all right. I say the summer preparation. This is the time to develop techniques. Forget the X's and O's. Like I said, use this time wisely with the kids. Whenever you condition, use some kind of position-specific exercises. This is time to work on all their footwork with DBs and stuff. This is a great time to get a lot of drill work in these kids in the summertime, along with conditioning. So we do spend some time, running some teamwork and things like that. Not without pads on and all that. But this is a good time to work on a lot of their skills. Whatever it is that you think, that your kids need to work on. Summertime is a great time to do that. You can just do a lot of different drills, and that's one of those things that you want to say, like, what do you do for the DBs or this, or linebackers or linemen? You'd be happy, like an email type of thing, we have to kind of tell you what we do position specific. But this is, I think, is a great time to do that. I think this is fantastic. Passing league. It's an excellent time to work on your defense, no matter what is happening to your run and play situations like with the game. Get your kids used to this. So, you get to play third and long, goal line, whatever it is. If you sub guys in, if you have a nickel package, it's a great time to work on that. And when I said no matter what's happening to you, Coach Dodd mentioned this in South Dakota. You don't want to. Your goal is not to win passing. I've seen teams play against us. That was their main thing. They're a wing team, and they come out and gets us in 5 wideouts. And they're running all over the place. And the coach, here's the coach. All right, huddle up. Okay, it's taking 2 minutes per play. It's like, I'm trying to get some work in here with my DBs. You think maybe you could speed it up a little bit here? And they're running all these things. It's like, they don't run that offense. That makes no sense to me. And this is a good time, if you're getting, you want to work on your man team, they're running all these routes to beat you against man, they're picking you and crossing on you. But that's good for the kids to learn that. It's good to learn to deal with those situations. So, whatever you run it. I think that's important. And work on the things that you need to work on, not necessarily to win that particular game. So, we always talk about that. We're more interested in passing league, like I think all of us should be. What we're interested in is effort. That's all we care about. What kind of effort is the key to get us? And I think A lot of times we go passing after a 3-hour workout, so. In Concord, it gets to be like 95, 98, so it gets into triple digits every once in a while. Our kids are out there in 95-degree weather, they've been working out for 3 hours, and they're out there and they're kind of dead, and Coach Lodge was yelling at them, and it's like, well, Coach did that, but bullshit, it's like, okay, that's all right. So, that's good though. But this is a great time though, like I said, to work on your pass defense. And you can find some linebackers. There's no doubt about it though, we tell our kids all along, what you do in passing league, let us know about your skill level, but especially for line, we get our depth chart in passing league with our offensive line, our receivers and our DBs. We do not, we tell them right off the bat, we're not going to do a depth chart for running backs, we're not going to do a depth chart for linebacker, we're not going to do a depth chart for strong safety, because we have to see you hit. You could be a passing league, demon out there as a linebacker, because they're going to pass every play. You want to see if you're going to come up with some content. So that's important. And I talked about film. Summer's a good time to prepare your teams. Well, ladies, I put down like the Midi St. Louis example. One time we were going to play Midi High School, it's up there, which was a wing T team. And the second week we were going to play Honolulu St. Louis. And they were a spread offense team. So we felt like if we just concentrate on game one, which is, we understand that. I mean, you got to get to game one before you get to game two. When we spend all our energy trying to prepare for game one in the wing T, then also we go to spread. We felt like 2 or 3 days wasn't even traveling to Hawaii and all that. It just wasn't going to be enough. So we started watching film of both teams in the summer. Bring them over to your house, have an ice cream thing, bring the kids over, or you can do it in school, wherever you want. I just think like sometimes if you bring kids into your home, as long as you feel like they're not going to break anything, that it's just kind of special, because it's like just telling the kids, that you invite them into your home and say you're building a relationship, and now you're trying to buddy up with them, but it's a sign of respect. So we'll bring them over, and we started watching that ahead of time. So you look at your schedule sometimes, because to us, preparation is the key thing when it comes to defense. And I talked about our scouting part, which gets into the preparation part of the talk here. I put it in the bag. Oh, there it is. I have my glasses on, I'm still blowing. Here's Coach Lasser likes to know the teams. He can write and I can't. So here's an example, and this was a double-type, double-wing T. This is the Nation Valley where Tim Murphy from Clovis East came from. So this is a scouting report, for example, we gave our kids in 2005. And the preparation we do. And what Coach Lasser does is, even though he just likes to do it, is like, he'll write up the set, and then they'll write lines to the kids and let them know, like, that's double right, double, he called it, motion right. This is where all the lines are where they like to run the play. And he'll do this individually for each set, and then he'll total it up. So double tight, double wing, 33 runs, 9 passes. Then he'll break it down individual plays, he'll draw them up for them. And he'll do this for each individual set. Then at the end, then he kind of just goes through the scouting book, how he drew it up himself and what he did. And he's like 1st and 10, left hash, yard line, and all those things. So he kind of breaks down a couple of games on the scouting report. And we give these to the kids on Monday. And with basically, the defense can go on Tuesday. And they're supposed to devour this. And he spends about, depending how many sets and teams, 5 to 8 hours on a Sunday doing this. And let me tell you, you come out there on a Tuesday, and they run a certain set, they run a dump and play at them, and the kids, and they go, what do they like to run out of this? Like a linebacker makes it, what do they like to run out of this set? The kid doesn't know the answer. Good luck for him. Do you know how many times I spent on that sky? I think I hear the lecture for 100 times, it's like, it ain't worth it, just study it, okay? So, that's part of preparation, is our scouting part. The other part is, I don't know about what you guys are doing. I understand, We all need time to get a break, but we don't have a period from sports at our school. It's a straight, it's a 6-period day. We go right into athletics right afterwards. So lunchtime, we start noticing, you know, all our football guys, especially during the season, they all flock together and eat lunch together. So we said, hey, as long as we're going to eat lunch together, why don't we watch some film together also? We can eat lunch and watch film and be productive. And some of our teachers say, like, you know, you never give them a life and all that. They're like, do you want us to put them on this campus? We're watching them. We're watching the animals. You should be thanking us right now. So we take them at lunchtime. This is where we watch film. And this is real important. We watch film every lunchtime. And I've learned, make it interactive. By that I mean, after like the first day or 2 days, they got their scouting report, especially like on a Wednesday, have a kid say, okay, next play, put it up on the videotape machine. You go, okay, have them go like, I left, and it's like 2nd and 5, it's I left, 2nd and 5, what are they going to do? Quick hitch, or toss left, something like that. Something off the scouting report, so it makes them see if they're thinking about what the scouting report's all about, if they know what they like to do out of it. And they might say like, this set, it's going to be, I don't know what that, it's going to be this pass play. So things like that. So they're thinking about what's coming up with them. I think that's one of the things I started doing this year that I thought was really important, and it worked well, and it helps them get to know them. Because if a kid has an idea what's happening, they play at a much faster speed than trying to react all the time. All right, and then our practice, we tackle every Tuesday. You can't become good tacklers unless you practice that. In the secondary and all that, we do live tackling, since the guy gets to make a move and all that. And we tackle, but we're tackling for about 15 to 20 minutes. We have 2 or 3 different stations. We put them through tackling drills. So we tackle every Tuesday throughout the year. Make sure that they're getting at least good 15 or 20 minutes of tackling. You know, some kids are naturally good hitters. You don't have to worry about them as much. But a lot of kids do not know how to tackle. It's a lost art, is it not? I mean, as a football coach, you watch pro football, sometimes you want to throw up all over the screen. I mean, they cannot tackle. I'm from Oakland. The Oakland Raiders are the worst tackling football team I've seen ever. I mean, it's just sickening to sit there and watch. Well, we don't get to only watch away games, but when we do get to watch them, it's bad. We do individual work on every Tuesday. We do some kind of 7-on-7. I just think this is real important, and I could discuss practice with people later, but this is real important. We do teamwork a lot. We believe our kids are going to learn how to hit, they're going to have to hit. We do live on the line. We don't do live to the running back and all that, but we do a lot of teamwork. And we condition them a lot in the summer for them to be able to do that. So when we go, by the time we're ready to go pads, I mean, our guys are ready to go. And I think this is important. Number one, always do something that's not in the scouting report. Maybe even something that they did 3 years ago. If you have that memory or something like that, just do something goofy, like just go no huddle spread offense one time, the team's never seen it, just to see how the kids react. One time a week, have like a 5-minute, this could happen, period, type of thing. I think it's just ways to prepare your kids. Get your subs work, especially in high school. I put this kid up there, Jason, picked up. I mean, one season I went through 5 strong safeties. And this kid, Jason Douglas, like this picked up, and it just reminded me, we practiced all week long. He was my new starting strong safety, my 3rd one. First play of the game, he sprains his ankle, he's out. But my subs have been in a lot. He's been practicing, so he wasn't like, oh no, I'm in now. It keeps him more engaged too. You gotta have subs in there, you gotta practice. I know you want to get your first to work, but you gotta get your subs. This is football, guys can get whacked like that. And they gotta be ready to go, they gotta know what they're doing. And this is one of my pet peeves too, I know this happens to you. When you're talking like, say like the right corner does something wrong, and you start talking to the right corner, and every other corner on your team's not paying attention, that drives me nuts. It's like, do you play corner? Yes, well this is for you also. So make sure everyone's on the same page, they're listening to you. So they learn that when you're talking to someone, they all crowd around you and learn to do that. You gotta work on that. Get over here, when I'm talking, you listen. So I think that is huge in practice, because I don't know how many times you can't have your players out in left field. You work so long and so hard, you want to be, make sure everyone's on the same page with that. And I didn't even get to our summertime stuff that we do with that. That's a big part of our conditioning and stuff like that, and the accountability things. I didn't get to do team meetings. A lot of things we do for accountability. This is just the sketch of it that I can get to you in this 55 minutes. But once again, if anybody have any specific things you want to hear, because I do have some other things that I can get into also about what we teach with accountability with our players and a sense of preparation and stuff like that. We just kind of ran out of time. So, does anybody have any quick questions though, off the bat, or is that it?
Yeah, Coach.